Hey Yocan, and thanks for the big package again. We're going to be going through this Cylo coils. This is the 5D. The 5D is okay with the vapor, but the flavor is going to be affected very quickly. I do like the new system that you sent out of the ceramic coils, but the one thing I always have questions on is the center air hole. I think the changes on the Quartz 5D were good for that air hole slit, but I think the chamber needs to get bigger. When it comes to the TGT tech, I don't like the center coil. It's also very hard to clean, and after isopropyl cleaning, it does seem to have a flavor dissipation and degradation. This is one of the Puffco original V1 chambers, which has the coil system on the bottom. I will have to talk about that soon. Also, these 3 pins on the bottom are a bad idea. But the bowl in the center with the slits for the airflow on the top is definitely the direction to go. This is the ICA chamber from 3-gram, which is a insert changeable system, which was some old school stuff before they went to 3D completely. As you can see with the chamber system, it is much bigger, which makes it have to make devices bigger, but generally with the system and how it's made, it is by far the most competent system for vaporizing concentrates. And also just remember to not go with these 3-pin systems. The amount of atomizer detection issues that have been had is a big problem. The Focus V Carta 2 atomizer right here is better with the connections, as well as it has the same type of platform that uses the 3D chamber system, where there is the heating coil directly built into the walls of the ceramic insert that's coated in quartz. The quartz coating is a big help when fighting against chas and buildup. Also, the amount of space that you'd want to have in the center bowl would be around the same size as for the Puffco Peak Proxy, as well as for the bigger devices like the new Max Phaser and all that stuff that came out, probably the Puffco Peak Pro. This makes it so people can load up a fair amount of surface with their dabs, and then from there it's easier to wipe. When it comes to the TGT tech with the caps, it is not really all that great, I would say, when it comes to cleanup and reloading. Very difficult, so if you can avoid having that. Also, the magnetic tip that's on here, way too hot for the Cylo. The Cubex has a better tip for just temperatures, because when you take 2 or 3 dabs on the Cylo, your lips are really getting hot, and it could be burning or irritating people's lips. So you want to go with something that is high heat dissipating and not metal. That's for sure. Also, the connector on the bottom is allowing a lot of reclaim to go into the device itself, which is affecting the flavor. So this is something that, I don't know, maybe some silicone gasket or something to keep it a little bit more separated. But I do have to say I like this system with the ceramic, and it is going into the right direction. You need to create more space in the bowls. The 3D chamber that you sent is on the right path, but you need to create a little bit more space so people can visually see what is going on in there. It is a bit too dark for anybody to know if it needs to be cleaned, but the design is going in the right direction. Like I said, with the air hole slits on the top, with the center bowl being big enough for people to clean as well as see how much they have in there and load. It is probably the best system at the moment. I don't think that anyone has really made a better system than the bucket and air holes on the side. It does make it so the atomizers have to be bigger, but with the proxy even, they've made it possible, so I'm sure you guys can do the same thing. Now, I have to say, when comparing the two companies, Puffco and Yocan, when it comes to the atomizer tech, I understand that the Yocan coils cost much less per piece when it comes to retail purchases. For Puffco atomizers, they range at maybe like 300 to 600% more. Puffco Peak Pro, the Carta 2, or any of those other types of atomizers that utilize the bucket technology seem to be charging much more for the atomizers. I don't know if that plays into a factor of what you guys produce, but generally that is how it goes. The cleaning over long term, these people can get away with not buying atomizers quite as fast and all that, just because it doesn't quite affect the flavor the same way. When it comes to sizing for carb caps, I recommend going with the same size as Puffco, because there are a lot of third-party companies, and people really appreciate that as an option because they really like custom stuff many a time. Thanks again for sending out all of the products. We'll be having some videos coming up probably next week at the soonest, and beyond that, weekend, and stay elevated.